Lakers have 14 games left of the season, beginning tomorrow, the beginning of a back-to-back against the New Orleans Pelicans, and then follows that up against the Houston Rockets. Now, the Pelicans game is a really big must-win. Right now, they have the tiebreaker. They need to stay in front of that. There's implications not only for the standings, but for draft picks. Lakers currently sitting in the 10th spot, but they're tied for 9th and only a game out of 7th, 2 games out of 6. So the Lakers are still right there even after that loss. Pelicans and Rockets game could easily get them to 500, which would be massive, which would be huge. But realistically, the Lakers are probably going to have to win roughly 9 to 10 of their next 14 games, at least, right? You get to 42, 43 wins. I think that'll be enough to bare minimum get you into the 7th or 8th spot. You're going to have several teams that are probably at 500 or just under 500 or, a game over 500. So if you can get, 2, 3 games over 500, you're going to be in a beautiful position, and I do think the Lakers will be there. And looking at the schedule, again, got the Pelicans game, which is an absolute must-win. You got the Rockets. You got the Mavericks, which is another big must-win, the Thunder, and then you have that Timberwolves game. So at the bare minimum, Pelicans, Mavericks, and Thunder are the most crucial games coming up down this stretch that they need to win. And then, of course, the Timberwolves game, which we're going to touch on here in a moment. But looking at the schedule, right, you can make an argument that out of these 6 games that I have in front of you on screen, the Lakers could realistically win all of these, right? They should be able to beat the Pelicans. They should be able to beat the Rockets. Mavericks, they might not have Luka. Even if they do, we'll see how that goes. It's still, my opinion, a winnable game because of Dallas's lack of defense. Magic, you should be able to beat the Magic. And the Phoenix Suns are probably not going to have Kevin Durant. Again, another winnable game. And then the Thunder, you have the Thunder. Not to mention that 4 of those games are at home, right? So you take care of your home court, you're in a good position. So the Lakers could easily start a new winning streak and win 6, 7 of their next handful of games. But here's the thing. This stretch of games, the Bulls, or Timberwolves game, which Timberwolves, again, is another huge must-win. Those 3 games is probably where LeBron James returns. We probably get LeBron back somewhere on this stretch, right? Now, if that happens, then right now you can make an argument. We could win every game down the stretch. We could realistically win all 14 games. The only games that are really questionable are the later Clippers game, because the Clippers might end up having to play really hard that game because they're very likely going to be fighting for seeding at some point, or unless they just go on some crazy win streak. And the Suns, are they going to play guys? Now, that last Suns game, I could see them potentially sitting guys. But outside of that, again, the next 14 games, you can make an argument that all of them are winnable. You got the Pelicans, the Rockets, the Mavs, the Suns, the Magic, the Thunder, the Bulls, the Timberwolves, the Rockets, the Jazz, the Clippers, the Suns, the Jazz. All of those games sound incredibly winnable. Now, realistically, you're not going to win every single one of those games. You're going to lose some games here and there. It's how it goes, right? Just like the Knicks game. That was a game that we felt like we should have won, that we could have won, and we just didn't have it. Dropped the ball, and we lost the game. It's going to happen again. It's just how it works out, right? But let's assume, right, we need to go 10-4 during these 14 games. And let's say LeBron returns during one of these 3 games, preferably that first Bulls game, because that way you have 2 games of warm-up going into that Timberwolves game. That's very important. That could actually be a deciding game for the 6th seed, right? So let's say LeBron returns that case. You can make an argument that let's say LeBron returns to that second Bulls game. You can make an argument from that Timberwolves game on down, we might not lose a game. The Lakers are 3-0 with LeBron James, D'Lo, and AD, right? That's really good and really telling, right? And these stretch of games, you got the Timberwolves, which again I think is a winnable game, the Rockets, the Jazz, those 4 games right there. Plus, let's say he returns to one of the Bulls games. There's 5 straight wins right there. The only 2 that are going to be, or might be tough, are the Clippers and the Suns. But if we're winning and we build momentum, and LeBron's going to know momentum's going to be huge going into this playoff run, and especially if we're fighting for a 6th seed still, it is not unrealistic for the Lakers to go 7-0 during those last 7 games, or let's say 6-1, Now, if that's the case, then the Lakers only have to win 4 more games without LeBron out of their other 7. Right? Because if you win, let's say 6, and you win that other 4, there's your 10 wins. If you win all 7 down the stretch, then you only need to win 3 of these games out of the 7, which means you could actually go under 500 the rest of the way. Now, I don't think they will because, again, you got the Pelicans, you got the Rockets, you got the Magic, you got the Bulls. Thunder might be tough with SGA, but I think that you can win at least 4 of those games. So if that happens and LeBron comes back, now you got LeBron, you got a healthy LeBron, you got a rested LeBron, you got this team that you have now, which has already shown the capability of still being a good team even without LeBron. Put it all together, and I could see them rattling off 7 straight wins. If LeBron comes back sooner, great. Problem is, I don't want LeBron to rush, and nobody should, right? You want LeBron, if Lakers can weather the storm, this very likely, these seedings and stuff, because I know people are like, oh, we could have went from 6th to 10th. It's going to come down to the wire. You know, everybody has like 14, 13 games left. It's coming down to the wire. Literally. It might come down to the last game or 2 and tiebreakers and stuff. That's why some of those games are very important. If the Lakers, worst case scenario, Lakers could lose to everybody the rest of the way until LeBron gets back. Lose if you lose to the Rockets, lose to the Magic, lose to the Suns, lose one of those Bulls games, there's 4 losses, fine. But you can't lose to the Pelicans, you can't lose to the Mavericks, and you can't lose to the Thunder. Those 3 teams you have to beat without LeBron James. Those are the games that the Lakers should have circled on their calendar. They win those games, the Lakers are going to be fine. The Lakers are going to be great. And even if they lose one of those games, then it's not going to be the end of the world. But it just, again, it's going to put more pressure on LeBron, which we don't want to put too much pressure on LeBron. LeBron coming back around that Bulls-Timberwolves game is going to be massive because then we can really kind of get on a run, really kind of rattle off these games. You got an easy schedule the last handful of games, and it allow LeBron to get hit ready, get playoff ready, and hopefully get into that 6th seed and kind of make that real push. This favorable schedule is huge for us. Like, we really do have a very favorable schedule the rest of the way, and all of them are very winnable games. Now, again, I hope the Lakers go on like a 4-game winning streak at least. Go beat the Pelicans, Rockets, Mavericks, and Magic. Win those 4 games right off the bat, get a 4-game winning streak. Now we're in business, right? Going into that Suns game, we'll see what happens to that Suns game. If the Lakers can go on like a 4 or 5 game stretch, I really think you'll start seeing us make some headway, and I really do think we will make the decision. We are 8-4 in our last 12 games. You go on a stretch like that the rest of the way, you're good. You got to go 10-4. But, if we just replicate what we just did, and that was a harder matchup. We had a harder run there, right? Because, in our last 12 games, you had the Knicks, the Raptors, the Grizzlies, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, the Thunder, the Grizzlies, and the Mavericks, right? So, right there, and then even before that, you had the Warriors, the Pelicans, and then the Warriors again, the Bucks, right? You had this insane stretch, and in that stretch, we went 8-4, right? So, if you just replicate that against teams like the Pelicans, the Rockets, the Mavericks, the Magic, the Thunder, the Bulls, the Rockets again, the Jazz twice, you easily should be able to win 8 to 10 of these games. 8 games makes it tough. We probably get the A seed, which could, you still only have to win 1 game. But I think LeBron will come back, and I think will really lead the charge and go on a nice little run here. So it's just about these 2 guys weathering the storm since then. D'Lo has been brilliant since he got back. 2 huge, strong games. AD had a rough game against the Knicks. Still gave you 17 and 16, but we needed a bigger game from him. It happens. Guys have bad nights, right? A bad night for Anthony Davis was still 17 points, 16 rebounds. a couple blocks, 4 assists. Like a bad night for AD was still a good night for most players, right? Like, so I can't really get on him too much. The night before, I know a lot of people like to bring up and say, like, oh, yeah, no, it's 2 bad nights in a row. Anthony Davis didn't have a bad night. He took 7 shots. He didn't have to have a good night. So he did it. He played within the team game. It's not a bad night. Him not going for 30 when he only took 7 shots, not a bad night. It's a big difference. This game, he took 18 shots and had a bad night, right? And he still gave you a lot of points. Free throws killed us, stuff like that. But these two, I believe, these two alone, with the team that we have, are going to get us at least 8 more wins the rest of the way. LeBron will be back with enough time for us to get, another 4 or 5 wins, right? So these guys can get us, 8 wins. Let's call it 6 wins. Let's say between these two, let's say they could get us 2 wins. You don't think that when LeBron gets back, LeBron added to this team can't get us another 4 with like 7, 8 games left? You don't think we can go 500 with LeBron? Like, of course we can. The Lakers will be fine. The Lakers, it's just, are we going to get that 7th or 6th spot is what it comes down to. Are we going to be able to win enough to get to that 6th spot for the Warriors, catch them, or are we going to be in like that 7th seed and maybe end up having a Warriors matchup in that first play-in game, which would be kind of interesting. But in general, I have all the confidence in the world with this team. We'll be fine. We'll bounce back. The Lakers are going to be okay. Lakers are going to be good. And yeah, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think, yeah, they're good, they'll be fine, it'll be okay? Do you think, no, they need more? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below.